All right, so we're going to learn how to solve linear equations with multiplying and dividing. All right, you're going to notice that when you're multiplying a variable and a number, the number and the letter are touching each other. All right, so I'm going to just show you an example. If I have a question that looks like this, 6x, that is 6 times x. If I have this, then it's 6 plus x. Okay, so they're both very different. All right, so make sure you're doing the proper steps when you're doing these questions. Make sure you know the difference between something that's being multiplied. Okay, so like that, 2a is 2 times a, it's being multiplied. And then 2 plus a or 2 minus a would be adding or subtracting to the letter. All right, it could also be written this way, a plus 2 or a minus 2. All right, so those are examples of adding and subtracting. So these are adding and subtracting variables and numbers. This is a variable and a number being multiplied. Okay, so 2 times a. All right, so with that said, let's go to a question where I have to solve for the letter. Okay, so if I have a question like this where it's 6x equals 12, I'm still going to do the same thing. I'm going to draw a dotted line. Okay, to get the letter by itself, I can't just draw a circle around the 6 and bring it over. Okay, so when I'm multiplying and dividing things, I can't just draw the circle and bring it over. That's not what you do for multiplying and dividing. All right, that's what you do for adding and subtracting. But for multiplying and dividing, I have to do something else. All right, and what I have to do is I have to divide the letter, divide both sides by the number in front of the letter. Okay, so the number in front of the letter is x. So I'm going to divide this side by x, which means I divide this side by x as well. All right, sorry, by 6. All right, so whatever the number is in front of the letter is a number I'm going to divide both sides by. Okay, from there, I have 6 divided by 6 on the left side, which gives me 1, and then the x comes down. And on the right side, I have 12 divided by 6, and that's 2. Okay, so when I have 1x, it is the same thing as just saying x. So when I have an x by itself, like so, it's the same thing as having 1x. All right, so whenever I see a letter by itself, I have to remember that there's an imaginary 1 in front of it. All right, and that's how you solve a linear equation when you're multiplying it by a variable. Okay, so let's try the second example here. I have 10 equals negative 5c. I'm going to draw a dotted line where my equal sign is. Okay, in this question, the number in front of the letter is negative 5, which means I need to divide both sides by negative 5. Right? Just like in question A, the number in front of the letter was 6. I divided both sides by 6. For question B, the number in front of the letter is negative 5, so I divide both sides by negative 5. 10 divided by negative 5 is negative 2. Negative 5 divided by negative 5 is 1c. All right, like I said in question 1a, if you want to write the 1 in front of the letter, you can, but it's not necessary. It's up to you. All right, so that's how I deal with questions when the number and the letters are touching each other. Okay, and that's how I get it to be a 1c or a 1x, which is what I want to do. I want the letter to be by itself. All right, I can't have a final answer as 3x equals 6. That's not your final answer. All right, it has to be a letter by itself or a 1 and a letter in front of it. Okay, so dividing is the same thing as fractions. All right, and we've kind of done questions like this. Chapter 1, where I kind of doing X box, okay, but it's not always going to be the letter X. It could be the letter K. Same as similar triangles. When you see a question like this, all you do is cross multiply. All right, so in this question, it's going to be 5, which was already there. I'm going to multiply it by 2. And then I'm going to be left with the k by itself here, which is kind of what we did in previous chapters. Okay, 5 times 2 is 10 equals k, and that's my final answer. And that's how you that's how you deal with fractions. That's how you isolate a variable when you have a fraction. All right, the last question here, I'm going to draw my dotted line. I have b over 4 equals -6. Again, I'm going to take this 4 and I'm going to multiply it. Please be careful when you write the next line out. All right, it's not going to be 4 minus 6. That's not what's supposed to happen. All right, we need to multiply 4 times -6. All right, and your answer will be -24. Okay, so some of you might not know how to calculate negative numbers on your calculator. Okay, so there is a big difference between a minus sign or subtraction sign on your calculator and a negative sign on your calculator. All right, so if you have an iPhone, you need to change your phone into the profile way, sideways, or actually it works right up. So you're going to be looking for this number. So this is what I'm going to be typing out if I have an iPhone. All right, I'm going to be typing 4 times negative. Okay, so the negative button is this symbol here, this plus minus symbol here. And then the 6 equals. Okay, so if you have an iPhone, that's what you need to type. If you have an Android or if you're using your calculator, the button might look like this. Okay, so if you have a plus minus button on your calculator, that's what you press. Some Android phones will also have the plus minus. Some calculators, you might see this little symbol, a little minus sign with a negative inside it. Okay, please learn how to use the negative symbol on your calculator or your phone because you'll need it for this unit.